What is the Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act, BCRA? Have you ever wondered how money influences political campaigns in the United States? The Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act of 2002, often referred to as the McCain-Feingold Act, plays a significant role in this area. This federal law was designed to change how money is raised and spent in political campaigns. It amends the Federal Election Campaign Act of 1971, which had set rules for campaign financing but left loopholes that allowed large sums of money to sway elections without transparency. At the heart of the Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act are two main issues: the use of soft money and the regulation of issue advocacy advertising. Soft money refers to funds donated to political parties for general activities, not for specific candidates. Before the Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act, there were no federal limits on soft money. This meant that wealthy individuals, corporations, and unions could contribute large amounts to parties, indirectly supporting federal candidates. The Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act banned national political parties from raising or spending soft money in federal elections. This aimed to reduce the influence of big money in politics. The Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act also focused on issue advocacy advertising. These are ads that discuss political issues but often influence elections without explicitly telling viewers to vote for or against a candidate. The law defined certain ads as electioneering communications if they mentioned a federal candidate close to an election and were broadcast to a large audience. It prohibited corporations and unions from using their general treasury funds for these ads, requiring them to use money raised through political action committees instead. From a liberal viewpoint, the Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act is seen as a step toward making political campaigns more transparent and limiting the power of wealthy interests in elections. Liberals generally support campaign finance, reforms that reduce the influence of big money. They believe this helps level the playing field for candidates and ensures that elected officials are accountable to voters rather than wealthy donors. The restrictions on soft money and issue advocacy ads were intended to prevent the circumvention of campaign finance rules and promote fairer elections. However, it is essential to note that parts of the Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act have faced challenges and changes over time. For instance, the Supreme Court's decision in Citizens United v. Federal Election Commission in 2010 overturned the Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act's restrictions on independent political spending by corporations and unions. This allowed for more outside spending in elections. Despite these changes, the Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act remains a key part of the history of campaign finance reform in the United States. In practical terms, the Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act shaped how political parties and interest groups raise and spend money. It influenced the strategies used in political fundraising and campaigning. For liberal political movements, the Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act represented an effort to address concerns about money in politics. The ongoing challenges to campaign finance laws mean that the debate over how to ensure fair and transparent elections continues.